All right, did you start it?
It's trying.
I'm closing windows here.
Oh, it's not you, it's me.
All right, hi everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Domains. Let me do a little retweeting and resharing our space. Welcome to Monday Night Domains live on X, live on Instagram, live on YouTube, live on everywhere. We're just live on the internet. Let's see. Let me like this. Let me repost it. All right, as everyone starts kind of coming in the room, we've opened the doors. We're having a little technical glitches this evening. Julie may be on, or she may not be on. You may be able to hear me, or you may not be able to hear me.
Okay, I think. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, so my video is going to be behind, but my audio can at least be on. I'm having to stream via 2 computers because of life. So there's going to be 2 of me. And one of my computers, the audio doesn't like to sync, or the camera, but that's the only one the camera is working right now. So we're having a lot of technical difficulties, and I'm only slightly frustrated.
Well,
Welcome to Monday Night Domains.
Yeah, and I think this is the definition of digital,
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. We're sorry we missed you the last 2 weeks. First, I had the plague, and then Dad had the plague. So we had to miss out a little bit, but we're officially back and better. Well, not better than ever because I'm having technical difficulties. Oh, okay. No audio from. I can't do anything.
All right, hold on. Maybe I should start singing. Let me check my cell phone and see if it's coming through.
Sorry, friends.
It's okay. We may have to turn on captions. Let's see.
Yeah, because I know my video is glitching, and that's just going to have to happen, unfortunately. I can turn my video off if that makes it less frustrating for everyone to watch. Then you wouldn't get to see my beautiful face.
Go ahead and do that.
Okay.
But keep talking. I'm going to go in the other room, and because I don't want to cross the streams here.
Yeah. It'll get. I can hear me.
Go ahead and do that. Yeah.
Okay.
But keep talking. I'm going to go in the other room, and because I don't want to cross the streams here. Yeah. There we go. So.
Well, you guys are gonna get to see my beautiful face.
All right. So, what I thought I'd do, since it still feels like the beginning of 2017, even though we had a couple weeks off, is maybe go back to the beginning. And for a lot of you, for a long time, the domain industry, there was kind of one main group. A lot of us started buying domains back in 2002, 2003. We developed our clicks, we developed our sites, our communities, our forums, and they've evolved since then. But also, all around the world, other people have discovered domain names. Other people have discovered investing in domain names.
Sorry, that was me.
Okay. On their own. Yeah. And other people have self-discovered a lot of the learning. And also, a lot of times, the learning had to take place from the companies who were selling you products and services. And what I've always been about with my education and my shows is to try to give you an independent knowledge base to evaluate what you want to do for yourself, and then be able to use products and services from these companies. But if they're able to only kind of show you what they do or what they want you to learn, then you might be at a disadvantage. But it's been great to expose a lot of people to domains, mostly through GoDaddy, mostly through YouTube videos, and they have called the Domain Academy, which has been great to teach everybody. But I'll maybe give you a different spin. So, Julie, I thought I'd go back tonight and cover one of the ways most domain investors buy domains, which is through expired domains. So
okay.
I put a post up on X, and I asked the image generator to show me a dumpster with two people standing outside of it, and then it has a picture of expired names on the dumpster. So, Julie, you're walking down the street, you're looking to do a little side hustle, a little this, that, and the other. You see a dumpster with expired names. Are you going to stop and check it out?
Is it a cute dumpster? Actually, at what store is it located behind?
There you go. Now we're getting to the way.
Throwing some nice products out.
Yeah. So when you think about expired domains, in some ways, the reason I brought this up this week, Julie, is an expired domain is a name that someone registered in .com. It costs you about $11 to $20 a year to renew the name. And somebody did not renew the domain. Let's see, let me make sure I get this right. trc.com. So what do you think about that name, trc.com, from our discussion of domain names?
It's not great, but it could be. You can always make it mean something, and it's short.
All right, so it closed for $100,000.
Oh, crap. Okay, well, don't take my advice.
So 3 number domains, because there's only so many of them, and it's easy for people to say, hey, I'm not sorry, 3-letter. I want a 3-letter domain. They usually trade at wholesale between 16 and 30. And this one, because a lot of people like the C at the end, because it could stand for company or corporation, or this name could have been a name that already had a lot of link traffic and value, but I'm not going to talk much about that, but that's a big part of our market. I'm not going to cover that tonight, but most of the higher expired domain sales are happening because it's like you're taking over someone's house and it's already receiving rent. It's already getting traffic. But I'm just going to talk about people who buy domains for resale. So anyway, so of course everyone's like, well, I want to buy a name that is worth $100,000, you know, and I better start looking at some of the names that are expiring to see if I can get one of these. Now, of course, you have to outbid everyone else that's doing it. So Julie, as an outsider a little bit to the cyber and the digital industries, when you hear that this name was dropped, was put in the Goodwill thrift store, and then a company that's really good at buying stuff the moment it becomes available, they bought it and they auctioned it for $100,000. Does that make you want to jump in, run for the hills? I'd really be interested. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to think about it in the thing that I have experience in, which is clothes. And a lot of people do that where they go to the thrift store and they get something because they know what day the thrift store does their drops, and they buy something and they turn around and sell it on Depop for an 20-30% upcharge. And if you can find a diamond, then it's worth that, because sometimes you'll go, I went to Goodwill one time and I found a Coach purse, and then you can refurbish it because it had a lot of damage and I don't know how to do that, so I didn't buy it. But if you're someone who knows how to fix it up, or if you just happen to have a good find, then you're probably still getting something at value, But if you're just picking up trash and then trying to sell trash for a lot of money, that's not going to go very well. Whenever you go to like vintage resale markets, you see a lot of people have a cardboard box with $5 labeled on the front, and it's just a whole bunch of old T-shirts with $5 labeled on the front, and that's what you end up if you're not picky on what you buy.
Boy, I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it. And what happens is every day in the domain world, almost 200,000 domains are being dropped by people who didn't want to pay the renewal fee. And what's funny is every day there's about 600,000 domains that are renewed. Well, basically, there's a chance that almost half of the domains that get registered today, people aren't going to renew in 1 year. That's how little they like them. They're buying them for the thrill, for the love, for the possibility, and they may drop them in a year if they don't build their site or resell them. Other domains could have been owned 25 years ago. And it just so happens either the owner didn't get the email. I hate to say it, but sometimes the owner may be deceased. The registrar sends an email to the current owner, says, do you want to renew? And there's no response. They send another one, and that may be all they do. And so if you've changed your email address, or if you last renewed the name 5 or 10 years ago, and now you have a different address, there's no one that's going to call you and say, hey, Julie, you've got a book overdue at the library. There's no one to call you and say, hey, Julie, your car is here at the mechanic, and if you don't come pick it up, we're going to sell it. You know what I mean? I think of storage lockers. We had that show called Storage Wars, where you have things at storage and you have to pay each month. And if you don't, they sell off your stuff, to be able to pay back their bill. So that's kind of what you're thinking. But the main reason that expired domains is the way that most people acquire names is you take the attitude that right now, any domain that's not registered, if someone wants to get it right now, they can, just for in .com, $10 a year, right? So all the good names should be taken, because if they were available and they were in demand, somebody should be looking to buy it this week or this month or in the last month or the last year. So when you take the attitude that everything good is registered, then you're like, well, what are the ones that are coming available? And like you said, Julie, if you were that person who was learning what thrift stores put out what stuff at what time, there's a huge difference even between being the first person through the door and the second person, right? Because the first person's going to see the obvious value that they put on the front. And so the reason I want to help educate everyone tonight is because if you just go in late and you just buy whatever's left, you're still going to probably get some good stuff, especially if you know how to sell it, or if you have some unique knowledge about a specific area that maybe no one else does. It'd be like if you went into a thrift store and you're aware of a certain type of style that no one else knows about, even if you showed up late, right? They would have all
Yeah.
passed over something, but you're like, oh, I know that brand, you know?
Well, of course, like, people are at different levels in their domain journey. So, there's people out there that only sell 1-2-word.coms. And so if they, they may drop 30 names that are still solid names. They're just not those like $1 million sales that this one person makes. And so it's not going to be worth it for them to renew. But for some of us, you may be pretty young in your domain journey. You're still buying those lower quality names and still able to flip them for quite like a decent return. And so it could be worth it. I mean, one man's trash is always another man's treasure. Or maybe someone just forgot about their email, forgot an account. So you never know what you'll find. I'm a big thrift store girly, so I could be an expired domain girly. We go hand in hand.
Well, also, the only other way to decide what to buy is that you're given a search box and someone says, what do you want? And it's like showing up at a shopping mall. They're saying, well, you can't go to any of the stores, right? We just have a window at the shopping mall. And we say, yes, hello, welcome to the mall. What would you like? And you're like, well, I want to look around. And they're like, no, you just have to keep asking us what you want, and we'll tell you if we have it, So the expired domains, when it's presented that here's a list of stuff, then it allows you to browse. And you don't have to pay to browse. It's free. You can look through stuff for free. And especially in an economy that's getting tougher, where you want to use your smarts and your effort, the fact that you can browse for free and then decide if you want to pay is a pretty good way to go, right, Julie? In terms of the way it's not like you have to pay $100. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, that's a really good point, because you're not, you're right. You kind of get something to browse through when you're not having to come up with, oh, I think this is a great name that is just off the roof of my head that I think is going to be a great name. You get kind of a word bank to choose from. I mean, it's like going to the sale rack at the store, because I'll do that. I'm like, okay, I don't know what the heck I want. So then I go to the sale rack. And then I find like, oh, I want this. And it can also give you other ideas for other names that you could type into the search bar.
Well, listen, thanks everybody for coming in. I'm gonna say a word about our sponsor. Thank you for Freename, who's our sponsor tonight. We cover everything domains on Monday Night Domains. We cover domains that you build on, domains that you buy for resale. People in the domain business, come on in. We'll be talking domains and domain news every week. There's domains that are in the regular public route like ICANN, and there's a lot of innovation happening in Web3, like with Freename. So I want to congratulate Freename. They sell where you can own your own TLD, top level domain. You can own your own domain name on the blockchain. And even though it's not part of the existing route of domains that people can automatically see on their computer, you just have to download an app to be able to see theirs. But you have the ability to, in essence, own your own TLD, like we've heard of .com and .net and .org and CFD and XYZ and .sports and .web and .tech. And there's only and .la, and there's only about 2,000 of those. But if you want to have your own and go build up your own market, Freename has a platform to do it. So I want to congratulate Freename. They went over 22,000 top-level domains they've sold. And where I am is I'm on their website, freename.io, and you can go to their Who Is. But I wanted to see a little bit about what people were buying this week. Someone bought .Bollywood AI, so then they own that. And then if people buy domains in that, they get half the revenue. .Nouns was interesting. Vibranium, that sounds like a new rare earth element or something. .clout, I really thought was a good one.
That's a good one.
I'm going to be doing some reviews this week on the Telegram group for Freename, and that's what I'm going to talk about because it really is kind of neat. Myverse, I like. Pretty Woman. Then I Love Crypto. You can have emojis in your Web3 TLD. So this person was able to get I love crypto, and then also with the heart, I heart crypto or something. But the neat thing about emojis is you really don't have to say them because your mind processes them. So anyway, check out freename.io, our sponsor. All right. So, all right, Julie. So I'm going to take you through a little education of domain names, and we're going to do this thing we call the life cycle of a domain name.
Okay.
And does that show up okay for you? Can you see it, even though it's fuzzy?
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. It's smaller on my screen because I have all the other background stuff going on. Yeah. So you may have to voice what the words are, but I can see the graphic, and everyone else can see it beautifully.
So I'm going to get back to the real basics, and even if you've been in domaining for a while, you never know. You might be able to pick up something talking about the basics. So this little yellow cloud over here is really interesting. Domain names are interesting, and because they're not a physical product, domain names don't have to be made like in a factory to be able to be sold. They don't have to be invented or printed or anything. Simply every word of about 60, every combination of words and letters and hyphens of 60 letters can become a domain name in these 2,000 extensions in the ICANN route, and then in almost unlimited words and extensions in Web3. And any word, when it's not registered, is simply unregistered and available. And it's almost like it doesn't exist until you register it, and then it becomes a domain name. And I don't think there's anything else like that. You know, everything that we eat and buy and touch and wear is made, and it's made first, and then it's sold. And in this case, you simply say, well, if no one else has this name, I want it, you know, and then you get it. So that's how a domain starts. And in the first 5 days, you have this little thing called a grace period. Some registrars let you return it if there was a problem or you made a mistake. Some registrars let you get a refund. And then you get that name for 1 year, at least 1 year. You can actually buy up to 10 years. So a domain name is really powerful because you get 365 days of use of that domain name. And Julie, don't you find yourself paying for a lot of things monthly now?
Yeah, which is really frustrating because then they want you to try and buy the yearly, but then it's extremely expensive. I'm not paying $100 right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, I picked up a new trend. I'm trying to keep you up to date on these trends, Julie.
I know some trends.
Have you heard of the no buy 25?
I've heard of no spend weeks and like no spend days and like no spend September, stuff like that.
Yeah, it basically says we can cure inflation by stopping buying stuff, and then if there's no demand, stuff will go down. But anyway, back to this. So many computer services are sold on a monthly basis, $19.99 a month, $29.99 a month. And really, it's a great deal that we get a domain for a whole year. You can buy it, build it, develop it, hold it for resale, but you have a whole year, which is a long time. So that's really the basics. If everyone that bought a domain kept renewing it, you'd buy it, you'd renew it every year. But not everyone does. Like I said, between a third and a half maybe of all domains might not even be kept a year. So what happens when you get to the end of the year? You get an email that says your domain is about to expire. Please renew it. Some registrars, when you buy it as a convenience to you, they put it on auto renew, and they make it so that when it comes up for expiration, at some point, either 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 1 day or on the day of expiration, they'll automatically charge your credit card to renew the name.
Okay.
Now, in this world of fraud and getting new ATM cards and new credit cards, it's probably more likely that the original card you used to buy a name may not be valid when it comes to expire. Don't you think, Julie, in terms of how often we have to get a new card now with fraud and everything?
That has happened to me before, which is very sad.
So you
Do they
think
ever let you
everything's
put it
fine?
in?
What's that?
Question. Do they
Yeah.
ever let you pay via like bank details? Like, you know how
Yeah,
sometimes
most
when you switch with your utilities, you can do bank details because that never changes, but your credit card number changes.
Yeah, I know GoDaddy allows you to pay what's called, we call in the US ACH. I know that a lot of times you can put extra money in your account by sending a bank draft or a bank wire, and then when it comes to pay for something, they'll just take the money that you have there. Or the other thing people will do is they'll buy it for 3 or 5 or 10 years so they never have to worry about it. The problem there sometimes is that when you don't have to worry about it every year, like renewing your car registration or something like that, there's a bigger likelihood over 5 years that something could change, your email address, that type of stuff. Or you hired one website designer, and it was in his name, and then he stopped doing work for you, but then he didn't renew it and you didn't renew it. So a lot of things can happen. As you're going to find out, there's a chance that your registrar may only give you the minimum number of reminders, because if you don't renew the name, they're going to try to sell it and keep the money.
No loss to them.
So what happens after a name expires is technically that's not your name anymore the day after it expires. Now, in the real world, we're all used to grace periods and second chances and stuff. So different registrars, and it's really important to understand where you register names, what is their grace period? That all you have to do is simply pay the fee and you will still own that name for another year. You don't have to call them up. You don't have to apply. It's not like a life insurance policy that lapses and you have to get a new physical or something, So you have this auto renew grace period that could be up to 45 days, but most registrars, when you get to about 20 days, they'll probably charge you a penalty for renewing late. And they'll start trying to sell your name. And if they sell it, it's gone, even if you thought you had some days left of grace period. And because of that, that creates an auctions that these companies have to sell off their clients' domains.
Makes
What do you
sense. So
think
that
about
sounds like there's a lot of happenstance ways that there could be some good domains that fall into that expired domain market.
Yeah. So I'm going to look at one of the registrars out there I use a lot, Dynadot, and we're going to look at their system at dynadot.com, and you can get a free account there. And right now, just in the next week, they're going to have about 100,000 domains that they are going to sell off for their customers. So imagine having to look through a list of 100,000 domains.
That's a lot of
It'd be
domains.
pretty
Oh,
tricky.
I know the answer to this.
Okay.
That's where we have our short list.
We do. And the way we get our short list is we start saying, well, what do I want? And you might be able to go in and you may say, I'm like an XYZ domains lately. So on the screen now, I have their advanced search, and you can filter their list of hundreds of thousands of names. And in this case, I'm going to say, I could do .com, but I'm going to do .com later. So I'm going to do .xyz in this case. Say, only show me XYZ, and only show me names that on their appraisal system, they give a value of above $1,000. Now, this is not a real value. It's just a hypothetical value. But at least it's a start, you know what I mean, to be able to sift this list down, And so then they run the filter. And then I've said, when you show me these 4,000 names, sort them by the name that they think their appraisal system says is worth the most. So I'm kind of looking at the best of the best. Does that make sense, Julie?
Yeah. Is
Now,
this just a Dynadot feature, or is this a common feature among registrars?
Yeah, GoDaddy has this, and other registrars have it too. They use sometimes their own methods. And then there's independent services that may provide you this data for everyone's things. And I equate this to, I used to be in the baseball card business, and imagine a box of baseball cards, if you've ever seen a big wide box that has 5,000 cards in it, and imagine having to look through 5,000 cards. But what if you were like Harry Potter and you had a magic wand and you could just tap the box and say, sort this box alphabetically, and boom, all the cards would change, and you could say, sort it by the cards that have the names that have the shortest length. Boom. And then you open it up and then you look and you have the short ones in front. So see how it makes it easier instead of having to look through them all?
Yeah. Nifty. And that's still significantly better than having to just type in a name and hope that it's available.
So do your own research. Domain investing is risky. You have to remember that you're in the dumpster. Somebody didn't want this name. If they knew about it, they didn't pay the $12 renewal to get it. And then you're thinking about paying maybe even more, So this is called an expired domain auction. You're buying it from a registrar. It's a customer's name, and you're going to assume ownership. You're going to assume their ownership, and it's never going to go back to the bank. It's never going to go back to the home office. You know what I mean? You're jumping in the middle. But it is also really good, Julie, to get an idea of what types of names might be valuable.
Okay.
Because you're looking at, well, in this case, because there's not a lot of people bidding, you could sort by number of bids. And you could say, okay, what does someone else like? You know what I mean? And in this case, no one's bid on anything. So no one likes any of these, but a lot of people don't bid till the very end. But yes, that's one way to do it, especially GoDaddy. They encourage people to just go to their site and search by what everyone else is bidding on. But like in this case, Moodle, has a $5,000 appraised value. It does show you that it's 1 year old. It does have some links, but it also says how many.
Moodle.com? Or is it
Moodle.xyz. Yeah, I'm going to switch to com here in a second. But it does say that it's taken in 257 extensions.
Yeah, it's a company.
So right. So in this case, you'd be like, well, I don't want to buy someone else's name. But then you might get down to. Let's see, you get some short names here. Let's go ahead and let's jump to .com. Let's get to the good stuff here. All right.
Are these results available after the auction as well? Like if I don't catch it while the auction's going on because people do wait for the last minute to bid, will they show like what name sold for how much and how many bids it got?
They report it each month, and they don't report it all, but there's a site called Name Bio that does. It's a subscription site. You have to pay, but I could sit here and say, show me Dynadot's expired auctions and what people pay. And then there's also a really great newsletter if you're learning about domains called DSAD. And they, every day, they show you what they think the best names are. And then, like today, they're recapping what stuff sold for yesterday. So yesterday, Direct Wellness sold for $1,300, Media Station for $2,000, Party Cat for $1,200, and you can see how once a name starts getting some bids, then a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I want that. And it gets them up to higher amounts.
Okay, interesting. So it's a good appraisal tool.
So now I'll go back to apply filter. So now we got, oh, Julie.
I can't see the words. What is it?
Oh, I got to find out if it's the name of a company.
What is it?
PURPLY.
No way.
Purpley.
Purpley. Sold.
Purplish.
Purplish? I love
No, but that's the definition of it. And what I'm looking for here is I want to make sure there's not a huge company. There is a company called Purpley, but it's an automated SaaS product that allows do-it-yourself tracking. So to me, because trademarks are very important to consider, sometimes when I feel like a company has a trademark, but it's in a completely different use than the obvious use that I would buy the name for, you know what I mean? Then, oh, Julie, I think we found a winner here.
How much? I can't see how much it's currently going for.
The bad news is it already has 68 bids, and it's $2,100.
Just because it's the best color ever. Okay, anyway, sorry.
But also, it has an appraisal. It also has
what? I said, I'm sorry, I got a little excited there. A little excited.
It also has an appraisal of $130,000.
Oh my gosh.
But it's because of this, those of you that see the screen, it has 203 links to it. So Julie, I know you're doing some stuff with private networks and links right now. Imagine if you could buy a name that already had 203 links of traffic coming to it.
I want that name.
So you see how some companies won't even care if they like Purpley. They just want to be able to direct that traffic.
Someone doesn't even love the color enough for it to do what could be done. That's heartbreaking.
And what I would say to people, one of the things I've done over the years is I've said, well, we were hoping that Purpley was just available just to be a future project, and its bid should only have been around $200. So what I'm going to do, Julie, is I'm going to say, you know what? Now that I've decided I want a purple-oriented name, I'm going to type in PURP, because that way I get purple and I get variations of it. Let's see if there's something else coming down the pipe. There's not. Purpur Studio, Dads of Purpose. Well, that's about, but that's what I'll do sometimes is I'll say, well, I can't get the one because it's got that SEO value. So the other, so once you say, like in this case, I've said .com, I've said only show me names with a value of 1,000 to 10,000. Let's see if we see anything else. How about, here's one, Influ Space, INFLUE space. So it'd be like an influencer company, right? Okay. But it gives it a value of 22,000 again because of these links. So, but like right now, no one's even bid $8 on it. So please take any appraisal. Just know that a computer is saying that, but a computer is not like a person where it has to say, boss, this name's worth 22,000. It's just a computer. Yeah. But sometimes it's, but I was trying to think if there's something else. Let's see. So then, let's see. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to get rid of this thing that said only show me 1,000. I'm going to see everything with purple, Julie. We want anything with PURP. You guys are going to what I'm saying?
Bid on it, you better give it the love it deserves, is what I'm going to say. Because, you know.
That's right.
We're giving you the info here. You got to give the name the love it. It can't just sit there on someone's domain profile. You got to give it the love it deserves.
Well, we don't have anything else. What other colors do you like, Julie?
That's it. I like pink. Actually, I really do like all the colors. I'm a big gold girl, but purple really is the only one that I would invest money and enjoy into.
Right. So besides statistics and besides length or besides number of TLDs taken, you can also search for keywords. So I typed in pink, Julie, and the number one choice here is pinkcareer.com.
Interesting.
Not terrible. No. It's only taken in one extension, so only the com's taken. It's not valuable enough that people wanted the net and the org and everything. It does get a little traffic, and you have no idea if this is real people or if this is, it says visitors here, but it could be links of people looking for an image. It could be bots. It could be all kinds of things. But anyway, Pink Shrine.
I feel like Pink Careers would be better.
Yeah. Pink Tone. Pink Cream Cake. Anyway, let's see. How about blue? Let's see what we got with blue.
So sad everyone else also
blue, purple. Empty blue. So anyway, so this is kind of how you're able to look through and say, I'm going to type in smart. That's a word I've had success with. And I'm actually going to say, and most of the places will allow you to say Do you want? I can search not just for the word smart, but I want words that start with start or smart. I don't necessarily. Now, other words you may be like, okay, I don't mind where it occurs. You know what I mean? But so this one we got smart villainy, smartishly. That's kind of an example of what we call a brandable domain. You would name your company that, and even though it doesn't mean anything, it kind of conjures up an image.
There is a company called Smartly though, and I'm pretty sure they do like tutoring or something, and it's probably trademarked.
Smartishly. So if you're an investor, you're saying, what are the chances that if I buy this name, someone may want to call their company that name? And you always have to remember that they may be cheap, so they may be looking through the expired names to find something else that they want. You know what I mean? So for me, I'll do crypto here, and because that's a word that's pretty popular these days, and see if I can't find some for myself to pay for this time that we've done. Crypto tiger with a hyphen. Crypto shamans, like a shaman, like a Indian religious man or something, a shaman, crypto shamans. Crypto news pro. Cryptocurrency smarter. All right, well, anyway, so that's kind of an idea what to do. Now, in this case, the registriar Dynadot, they control the name and they control the auction and they deliver the name to you. So they control everything. So it's kind of like you're buying it from a store.
Yeah. Buying it, yeah.
Now, if nobody buys it during these auctions, or if the company doesn't have auctions, I'm going to go back to the map. Then the name goes into what's called the redemption period. And what that is, it's another 30 days that was supposed to be, in addition to the 45, but now you don't get the redemption period if a registriar sells your name. But what it's supposed to be is that if you were really using this name for your website, you should notice after 30 days, and especially after 30 more days, that it's down. You know what I mean? That you're not getting emails and things like that. So originally you were supposed to have 75 days to be able to renew it. But now the registrars may have sold it. You may discover it's gone, and you may discover the registrar sold it. But if not, or if the registrar doesn't sell their expired domains, it goes through this redemption period. And during this time, only the original registrant can renew it by paying an extra fee of about $80 to $100. So if you were like, oh, I just got back from vacation, I missed it, and I missed the late notice, and I missed the grace period, then you can call up your registrar and you can say, I'd like to get it. And they're going to say, well, you have to pay the redemption fee. And only you can do that. No one else can do that.
Okay, makes sense.
And then, if no one's done that, it goes into what's called pending delete, which is like a warning, and it's also an early notice to tell everyone else that this name is about to delete in 5 days.
So then you can look for it again.
Yeah, so it's kind of like going to the Goodwill store. And what if they had pictures on the front of what they were going to be putting out in 5 days?
You mean doing what Granny does and sitting and watching people bring stuff in so she knows when to come back?
So then what happens is the second they put it out, a lot of people have had 5 days to go through and do the data mining and figure out what they want. And then as soon as it becomes available for .com, it happens every day at 2 p.m. Eastern. And over the next hour, they randomly, in essence, put things out on the shelves, make them available. And for the really good names, you can imagine there's a lot of competition. So you can imagine a line of registrars all frothing at the mouth, wanting to register the name the millisecond that it becomes available.
So you better have a fast computer.
And because it's digital, what's that?
You better have a fast computer.
a fast computer. You want to have a fast connection. You might want to be located next to the data center. You know, you're trying to do everything you can. For 20 years, I've dealt with different services that are all trying to be the fastest, because when SAV caught that name TRC, Julie,
Mm-hmm.
they just paid $10.
That's insane.
But because they were the first one, technology-wise, to get it, they were able to sell it for $100,000.
So it really is worth it, not to advertise for technology companies, but it is worth it to invest in your internet connection, in your computer, in your setup, you know, like your gaming setup kind of thing, to make sure you're not getting lag. I see.
And what's great is the companies that are the fastest at it, they'll let you pre-buy a spot in line to get that name. So NameJet is one that's been around for 20 years, and what they say is, we think we have the fastest technology, and other companies called Dropcatch says they do, SnapNames, Sav, other companies, Catches.io. They say we're going to be the fastest. So what they do is they say, like tomorrow, these are the names that are coming. DoubleYourMoney.com is coming up tomorrow. You like that name, Julie?
I like the action.
Yeah, I like that name. So what they're telling me, if you're looking at the screen, everybody, and do your own research. This is not an endorsement of NameJet over the others, but they are one of the bigger ones. Is I'm going to pay $79, but I don't have to pay them that much money now. I'm just putting down $79 to tell them that if they get the name, I want to be in the auction for that name.
Okay.
So imagine this.
So they, like, the company buys the name and then re-auctions it because they have the fastest technology.
Right. And they don't want to hold the name for 5 years, and they don't want to develop it. The technology costs a lot of money, so they need to get paid every day. So in this case, if you look here on the screen, there's 72 bidders that have all said, I'll pay at least $79. So what I do is I put it in my cart. I'm not buying it right now. I'm just committing to pay at least $79. And if I was the only one, Julie, that knew about this name, then I would get it. And if not, it'll go to a 3-day auction, and then it could go, you know, to the moon. But that's what's basically happening during this pending delete period. And so what you're doing is the same thing we did before. You're going to different data services that will show you things about these names that are coming available, so you can find something you like.
Interesting.
So in this case, this is run by a friend of mine. I told him I was going to talk about it tonight, Jeremiah, and it's called Catches.io, and he and Niraj have built this, and hopefully he's going to be okay with it. Let me see if he gave me an okay. Let's see. So anyway, so what he does is he's one of these companies that sits there and says, we're going to be the fastest to get the name. And because he's built this in the last couple of years, he's also a domain investor. He kind of knows what people like. So I can go to his site and I can say, you know what? I heard AI is pretty big these days. What do you think, Jill?
Oh, yeah, somewhat, just occasionally.
So what I can do is I can say, just like before, I can say, show me names that have the word AI. And I actually told it to only be names that begin with AI.
Picky.
Because I didn't want something that happened to have AI in the middle. Now, as you can see, and then I sorted it by the cost per click that you would pay to advertise the word. Mm-hmm. And that got me a lot of names like air purifiers and stuff like that. So now I've switched it to, they have a tool where they put some appraisal value. This is not the value it's going to sell for, but it's just a tool. Or I can search by the number of times Google says this term is searched a month, right? And so, but a lot of times when you're buying a brandable, you're buying it and you kind of hope no one's using it now so you can use it. But So here's one I kind of looked at, AIZIER, Azier, but then I said, that it's not like AIizer, it's different. But let me see, AILEEE, AI Rec, REQ, Ariel with an AI, AIUOE instead of AEIOU. So it just gives you an idea. Now, again, most of these should be terrible names because people aren't renewing them, right? So, but it's a way where I can sit here and say, now, let's see, Julie, let's get some purple.
Yeah.
Let's get some purple. All right, I got to go back to my filter. I said .com, any word. Okay, and I gotta say contains purple. And then I hit apply. And so it's going to tell me, because it gets that pending delete list for the next 5 days, it's going to tell me what is coming up in 5 days. And I'm stalling here because it's taking a second.
Dad does not have the fastest technology. Dad is not named
All right,
yet.
let me go. Let me contain. Okay, here we go. All right, I got it. It came out. All right. All right. So now we got sample thank you letter. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is sorry. Hold on, everybody. This just gave me a P. Now I want to give me purple. Cat repeller. Okay. Business printer. All right. So anyway, but the idea is that you get a 5-day look for free, and you can pick what name, you can see what names are coming available, and then you can decide if you want to pay a service to try to get it really fast. And if it's a popular name, you have to assume that that one of the services is going to get it. So you might as well at least commit to buy it if it's an awesome, thousands of dollars name. So you can bid if you want, or you can at least see where the bid closes. All right, Julie, here's what we got. We got purple wallpaper. I think we might have a winner. How about this third one, purplestudio.com?
Ooh, I like it for like a studio apartment, but I feel like purple wallpaper is kind of better. But me, I do like a brandable better than a generic. So not either of them is really doing it for me.
But what I like about it is when I'm searching for stuff, it's kind of like putting stuff in your cart. You don't know if you're going to buy it, but you put it in the cart so no one else can get it, right, Julie? Now, in this case, that's not true. Someone else could, but I give it a little heart, because what I may do is I may go through and look for stuff that's maybes, and then at the end, look at all my maybes and see which ones I really like.
I see.
But at the beginning, I'm not trying to decide if I really like it for sure. I'm just saying, is it good enough to be a maybe? And then I'll finish with this because we're running up against our time. Once you decide you like Purple Studio, then you have to say, well, how much do I like it? And what I would recommend for you, Julie, if you called me up and you said, what do you think I should do? I would say, you know what, Julie, I don't think you have to bid $79 for one of the fast computer companies to get it. Mm-hmm. I think you can either use a company like Catches, which is $20, but they're not as fast sometimes. Sometimes they are. Or you can wait and see if no computer fast companies wanted it, and you could just try to get it, you know what I mean, at the regular price. You know, because what you're saying is, I'd rather have Purple Studio at $10, or I could not have it, but I'm not sure I want to have it for $79. Yeah. Even though it might be a good investment, what I try to tell people is, why not be happy? Why not only get stuff where you feel like, oh, that was a great deal?
You never want to be like, oh, I don't know if that was worth it.
Let's see what else we got. Purple drug. Sendpurple.com.
Oh, I like that one.
Sendmepurple.com, both of those. So again, you may say, you know what, no one else is probably going to go for those names. You could either, if you didn't want to have to hang out during the drop, you may say, you know, it's easier to use Catches to get it for me, or you may get it yourself. Purple OSY, Purpleacy.
I don't like that. Sounds like a dirty joke.
But you can just kind of get an idea just with the word purple, Julie, how many names are expiring every the next
Like
5
write them
days.
down with
And
my purple pen in my purple domain notebook. That.
yeah.
Really?
Okay, how about this prettypurpleshop.com?
That's cute. That's a cute little boutique name. I just dropped everything on my desk, but that's a cute little boutique name.
And for that name, you may say, I don't think anyone else is going to get it. I don't know if I have to get it today, but I may keep it in mind and I may keep a list. And this is the reason I wanted to give you an independent source of information about dropping names is you don't have to buy everything today. You can just have a list of stuff that I might buy if I come into an extra money, if I really decide I want to start a business, you know what I mean? And you may, or if you say, like, say someone comes out with a coupon code, like Dynadot right now has $8.99, you may keep a list of names that you would buy if you could get them for $5 or $6. But anyway, Julie, that's kind of a rough peek at expired domain names.
Cute. I like it. More Than SEO, just letting you know, I've written down your questions and we will answer them next week because we are coming right up on our time. So I hope to see everyone next week. And
yep. Oh, I got one more thing. Yeah, thanks for your question about Chili's. Chili's is going to be there. Hypothetically, there's a big announcement coming from Freename this week, and we will definitely cover it next week.
Okay, so. Perfect. I will put that in my notes for next week. So that gets everyone excited to see you guys next week. We've got a good amount of people in here, so it was a pleasure meeting everybody. I'm sorry you can't see my beautiful face. Hopefully, I'll figure that out by next week. Dad, have a great week.
Oh, just give us your face for a goodbye, Julie. Just give us a goodbye.
It quite literally is not working. Like my computer didn't connect to my camera, and so I was on my second computer, but I can't be on the second computer when it's not plugged in, and so I had to plug in the first computer if you guys wanted to even hear my beautiful voice. So unfortunately, I'll see you guys next week. So yeah, have a great time, everybody.